Yeah, Brian Golly knows a thing or two about the U of R Rams dinner and how effective this is when it comes to fundraising. Arash, you're with us. The guest speaker, Sharky and I talked about this at the start of the show. Like, Arash has to be so excited, wishing he was here, like you always wish you're in Regina, but today even more so because John Randle.
Honestly, if I knew Johnny was going to be there, I would have been there tonight. I'm not even joking. I'm not exaggerating. Like, when I think about my top 3 favorite athletes ever, when I was a kid, I worshipped Magic Johnson. Later on in my college days, Randy Moss was my guy. But Johnny Randle is top 3 with Irvin and Randy.
Wow.
And honestly, he's just the best. Like, also, Barney, I'm not telling you how to do your intros, but Hall of Famer John Randle. Hall of Famer John Randle. Let's make sure the gold jacket in Canton is acknowledged when we talk about 93.
Well, yeah, we did say that in hour one.
Yeah, we did.
Times.
We haven't left it out.
Hall
yeah,
of Famer,
we haven't left it out.
Big deal.
Yeah.
That's right. What is there? Is there a memory of him that stands out?
Well, like when you're a Vikings fan, the disdain you have for the Green Bay Packers, for the state of Wisconsin, for anything to do with those cheeseheads is immense. And Johnny, when he played, had no time for those jokers. I mean, there was a Nike commercial of him running around trying to tackle a chicken. And the commercial ended, and the chicken was wearing a Brett Favre Packers jersey. And he's just chasing him around this pen, And the commercial ends with Johnny grilling chicken on the barbecue. Like that Johnny understood how important it was. He said, to hell with them and how good they are. All they got over there is a bunch of cheese. The dude was the NFL sack leader. He was the defensive player of the year. He brought an attitude to that football team and to that defensive front. He was the best.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, you're not missing anything from his life, are you? You got it all down, Arash.
The one thing, because I was prepping.
I mean, Sharky, when I tell you, like, top 3 favorite athlete of all time, like, I'm not exaggerating. Like, Johnny grew up. Yeah, like the college he went to doesn't even exist anymore. He grew up in a little shack without plumbing. His ascension to, undrafted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame is a miracle. And he went, like, he got cut by Tampa, gets to Minnesota, and they tell him, hey, you got between mini camp and training camp, you got to put on 20 pounds. So this dude shows up to training camp 2 months later. He went to a hardware store. He got himself a big, thick chain, wrapped it around his waist, put a padlock on it, put his sweats over, and then he gets on the scale, and they're like, all right, well, we'll keep you around, I guess, for training camp. And he showed up every day from that day forward, thinking that, oh man, I'm going to get cut today. That today is the day they're going to get me. So I have to show up to work and pour everything I have into my job. And he continued with that mindset when he became the highest paid defensive player in the history of football at that time. And to me, I think there's a lesson in there for all of us that take nothing for granted, show up every day and work and grind. And if you do, sky's the limit.
You'll be okay.
You'll be okay.
Because it's not very often, and back then especially, that there was defensive tackles that were leading the league in sacks.
Right. Wasn't even 6 foot tall. This guy, like, he would turn on a persona too. Like, and I'm sure he'll talk to you guys about this.
Big trash talker. I read that.
You know what he would do, Barney? This guy would ask the PR department, this is before the internet, right? So there's not a lot of information out there. He would ask the PR department, hey, if we're playing like Detroit this week, Get me as much information as you can on every single offensive lineman. So if he's going, I don't know, toe to toe with whatever, Kevin Gogan, a dirty ass player from San Francisco or Dallas, he would know Kevin Gogan's kids' names, his wife's name. He would know where he went, like what they like to do, and he would get into their heads.
Oh yeah.
And that would, he was looking for every single edge. He had a motor that wouldn't stop. Johnny was the man. Johnny was absolutely the man. So happy he's there tonight.
You're giving us some good stuff to ask him.
Yeah, because we've got him in the next hour. So, look forward to chatting with him.
CFL Combine starting in Regina. Really, tomorrow is when they start sweating indoors at the or at the whatever it's called, the soccer center here. I don't know when it comes to the CFL Combine, will anyone get out there and move the needle? Will anyone, all of a sudden, well, we didn't know that this kid could do that, or are they just kind of making sure they know what they know? I think we lost him.
I think we did.
Okay, we're gonna bring him back. We'll bring him back, and then let us know when he's back. Man, he's got some greats. He should have been here.
Yeah, he's got some great insight on Randle. Holy smokes, he might be his publicist.
We might bring him back at 5. Just sit in on the interview. You mean I can do the feed up thing?
Yeah, we'll just relax and we'll let Arash.
Or it'd be like me interviewing Tom Brady.
Yeah, you'd be totally in awe, wouldn't you?
No, I'd just like to interview. There's just so many questions I'd like to ask. Or Wayne Gretzky. Yep. I would like to ask so many questions that just haven't been asked before.
There's maybe a reason.
No,
I think we got Arash back. Look at that.
Talking about his brothers, right? Like, was there a part? Like, did you see? Anyway, Arash is back. And Combine. I don't know if you heard my question. Just that, is this something where a player, an athlete will be there tomorrow on the weekend and then all of a sudden jump off the charts, move the needle, or are teams just kind of going through this saying to make sure they can quantify or know what they know about these players?
Yeah, I asked around today, just knowing I was coming on, guys. One of the things that the unfortunate part is a bunch of dudes aren't here because if you're watching NFL Network today, for instance, NCAA Pro Days are going on. So a bunch of the Americans, the Canadians who are playing in the States are staying down there. So that's one. But there's a kid from Queen's University. Darian Newell is his name. He's a defensive lineman. He absolutely tore apart the University of Buffalo Pro Day. And that was the same actual pro day that Taylor Elgersma went to throw. But he's a guy, and look, we think about Canadian players in the CFL, offensive line, defensive line, receiver, defensive back. And he is a ratio changer. He's a game changer. He's somebody who's going to make an impact. That's the kind of name that's coming out of the Combine right now.
So if you had to pick a name in Regina that we should watch for or hear for or listen for, that you have one that's going to be here that we should watch and make sure we pay attention to?
Yeah, I think that the quarterback from Laval, Arnaud Desjardins, is one. I think this Newell kid from Queens is another one. I think one of the things that's kind of weird this year, Sharky, there aren't a lot of offensive linemen who are moving the needle, is what I've been told. And that's, the traditional predominant, usually of the 9 first-round picks, you'll probably get a third of them to be offensive linemen. There aren't a bunch. Yeah. So that to me was a little, kind of puzzling, but I also think it speaks to the position of just how few quality offensive linemen there are. And part of that has to do with, they just don't practice in pads a ton anymore. And that kind of leads to it too.
Mm-hmm.
What else you got, Barney?
No,
distracted today.
I want the part of me that I want to go just to see Arnold from Laval.
Laval, yeah.
What he's done to Saskatchewan teams in the last few years. No, so it'll be Canadian O-linemen seem to be, occupying a lot of spots on CFL rosters, kind of always have, and all of that. Is there a lot of them this year, or is it a little thin for Canadian O-line? this year.
Yeah, thin on Canadian O-line. There's a linebacker from Windsor, last name Verishuk. He also did terrific work at the University of Buffalo Pro Day. He's somebody to keep a name and eye on. It's so tough with these things because usually, like, we just don't know about these U Sports kids until maybe a bowl game or a Vanier Cup. But just remember that one from Windsor, because from what some of the talent evaluators are telling me, he's somebody who can move the needle too.
So you had mentioned that University of Buffalo Pro Day. How does a player get invited to that? Tell me how that process takes place, that they end up at that school for a look.
Yeah, so for the most part with NCAA schools, Sharky, what will happen is, let's take University of Colorado, for example. Okay, you know, Dion School, Shadur's there, Travis Hunter's there, etc. A couple of the guys will show up at the Combine, but they won't work out much. But the real showcase for the scouts is there at the university. What's smart that the University of Buffalo has now done is, being a border town, they have offered opportunities to some of the top OUA players to say, hey, why don't you come down here and get a chance to audition with American scouts, with NFL scouts who are coming here anyway. And what that does is, that is an added incentive for NFL teams to show up to Buffalo's campus. It's also an incentive for, and this is where college football and college basketball are going to get really interesting moving forward, is that I think moving forward in a transfer portal world, don't be surprised after year 2 and after year 3, but especially after year 2, if you see more Rams, Huskies, U Sports players ending up in the NCAA transfer portal and playing south of the border. So it's relationships, which is how the University of Buffalo, they're saying, hey, top OUA guys, come down, you'll get a chance for NFL teams to get a look at you. But it's also a chance to kind of open the door for word of mouth to say, oh man, if you go to University of Buffalo, they have some really nice facilities there. They take care of their people there, et cetera, et cetera. So it's the short game, it's the long game, it's all those things kind of all happening at once. It's a great question because it's a fascinating concept that keeps changing as all the rules change.
Well, that's what's happening with hockey, with the NCAA edition of
That's right.
former major junior players, guys at U of A or USC or U of S, are getting opportunities from the Denver, the North Dakotas, the Michigans. They don't mind that they're 22 now. They can come in at any time. They've only got 2 years left. They'll take them.
But are they?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing. Those schools haven't signed many players. I talked to a guy the other day. He's like, the big NCAA hockey schools, they haven't. No, people are kind of curious on what their play is with all this. And nothing NCAA Div 1 hockey is unbelievable, but you haven't heard the big guys enter the conversation.
There's lots to go. Yeah.
Enter the chat.
There's lots to go.
All right. I got to ask you about this. I saw it this morning and I thought it was a bit of a joke. And then I'm like, it's real. The Boston Celtics reportedly have been sold for a number that I think you could almost buy the country of Canada. You pay the debt.
So like, this is what's wild. A little over 20 years ago, the Celtics sold for around $400 million.
Which was
today those owners sold it for $6.1 billion. Billion with a B. The biggest transaction. Yeah. Yeah, like the biggest transaction of a North American sports franchise ever. The amazing part is they sold it to a guy who grew up in Boston who's a Celtics fan who can, like, he's an encyclopedia of naming you all the Celtics players. But that's
who is it?
the going rate.
Who is it? What's the background on this guy? Are you on the job? Are you getting us the dirt or the good stuff?
I don't know exactly. Like, he carries the ones really well with the decimals. Like, he doesn't do decimals. He just does commas. Yeah, he's one of these finance guys, you know. If you have $6 million of play money to buy a team, what does that say? But also imagine if you're the group selling. You bought a business, you bought an asset that is worth 30 times more than what you bought it for in 20 years. There is nothing other than tech, other than like Apple, Microsoft, Google, Oracle, that has this kind of growth the way franchise valuations in pro sports do.
Yeah, that's a damn good point. 6.1 billion. How does that transfer of money go through from bank account to bank account?
Cash. It's just a cash.
Obviously, it's not cash. Yeah. It's not an e-transfer. That's
a big nut.
So where does that put Boston, the Celtics, with the Cowboy? Because what are the Cowboys are estimated at like 10.1 billion?
Yeah. I wonder about the Yankees.
What are the Yankees?
Yeah, so the Celtics have 41 home games a year, 41 gates at 20,000 seats. The Yankees have twice as many games, 81 home games, with twice as many seats. They'll put 40, 45,000 people in there. And obviously, New York's a bigger market than Boston. New York has, the Yankees, the Pinstripes are iconic, so are the Celtics. But the Yankees are just a more valuable franchise. So if the Celtics are going for 6, man, the Yankees, what's that number? Is it 9? Is it 10? I mean, somebody's got to have the cake to buy it. But I think we're just in this frontier that we've never seen before, fellas.
That's a lot of money to spend on a sports franchise. Like, you have to be really, really passionate about that team to take all your shekels and use it for that.
Or just a smart investment guy.
I don't know.
But I don't know how this
like our friend Brian Gall. So here's the question: what's our friend Brian Golly going to buy? What's the franchise that Brian's going to dig into?
Brian, let's get Arash into town for a little Western pizza.
Yes.
Let's sit down. I got a short list of 3 things that we can roll with and make a difference in this province. I'll leave it at that.
Holy smokes, that's a teaser.
You know what? I looked up I'm just looking up top valued sports franchise. The Cowboys are still number 1. Golden State Warriors, number 2.
Yeah.
Then the Rams of Los Angeles, not the U of R, as Mark McConaughey says here. The New York Yankees, and then you know what surprised me? The top soccer organization or football was Real Madrid at 6.6 million. I thought there'd be a higher soccer.
Billion. No. Billion with a B.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So remember, why are the Rams, LA, not Regina, as valuable? Remember, like SoFi Stadium is a $5 billion building. The land in the Bay Area in San Francisco, it's a brand new arena. I was just there for NBA All-Star. Plus, Steph Curry, what they've done to that franchise, winning all those championships. It's a very lucrative market.
Top Canadian team? Sharky, guess. I know you know. Top Canadian team.
Be the Toronto Maple Leafs.
No.
Montreal Canadiens?
No.
Toronto Raptors.
Toronto Raptors.
Really?
Edmonton.
NBA. Guys, NBA money is different money.
No kidding. It must be. The Raptors went dead last?
Oh, this is wild. This is a rabbit hole I'm going to go down now and start looking. I don't know. All right, Arash. This is great. So text us a couple of, I wrote down a few John Randle questions. If you think of anything else, text us. And I'm looking forward to the interview now, just with some of the little tidbits that you've dropped on us.
Yeah. Just tell Johnny he is the man. I'll just leave you with this. His old D-line coach, the late John Tierlink, he was the one who introduced him into the Hall of Fame. And Tierlink said, I've been lucky enough to coach in like 30 or 40 playoff games, 8 conference championship games, and 2 Super Bowls. And he said, inducting John Randle into the Hall of Fame is bigger than all of those combined.
Oh, that's nice.
It's an amazing story from an amazing player. So I'm so pumped you guys. And he's a beauty. He's an absolute beauty. You guys are gonna love.
You told me to make sure I go with Hall of Famer, but you've been calling him Johnny the whole time, like you guys are boys. I'm going to stick with Johnny.
There's no athlete I want to be boys with more than Johnny. I'll tell you that.
Awesome. Okay, have a good weekend, buddy.
See you guys.